While One Punch Man may carry a comedic tone for most of its runtime, and Saitama is considered by many to be more of a gag character, the show has deep thematic material that serves as both a backbone for the main plot and a source of inspiration when relating it to real life. In this video, we are delving into a special side of the One Punch Man lore, the interwoven concepts and themes that serve as truly motivating ideals when put under careful analysis. Let's begin with an overview of the world we are dealing with here. The most important points to the material being discussed in this video all revolve around the Hero Association and the characters that exist in and around it. The Hero Association is an organized system that superheroes of this world operate in. In many ways, it is a type of hero government. Heroes within it are given ranks based on several factors, power levels being one of the most influential. The ranks are as follows in ascending order: Class C, B, A, and then most respected of all, Class S. This world is also commonly plagued by wacky creatures of varying powers and abilities, generally called monsters, that are often at odds with the heroes. Civilians living in the cities are put in peril frequently, and many people have developed deep appreciation for the heroes that protect them, with the upper Class A and Class S heroes being treated like celebrities in some cases. Amongst the societal structure is a man named Saitama, who serves as the show's protagonist. Our dissection of the grander themes that the narrative has to offer can begin with him. In the present day, he is the strongest hero that the world has alive. True to the show's name, we see him repeatedly take down the most powerful of monsters and enemies in a singular blow that usually doesn't even appear to have required much effort put into it. He wasn't always this strong, though. In fact, he started out as a pretty ordinary human, his physical capabilities being presumably quite average up until he was 22 years old. According to him, he gained his power through 3 years of focused training that involved 100 push ups, 100 sit ups, 100 squats, and a 10K run every day. Side notes to the regimen included 3 meals a day and disallowing yourself to use any kind of temperature control in order to strengthen your mind. Saitama claims that all this training is what made him go bald, as he worked so hard that his hair literally fell out. Obviously, this workout routine wouldn't result in his level of power in reality. He's seen literally destroying asteroids, enormous monsters, and inconceivably powerful beings. Furthermore, his body itself is absurdly durable. He's able to absorb blows and survive unscathed, maintaining a nonchalant attitude during the most intense of fights. This is something his disciple, a cyborg named Genos, calls out the absurdity of, at first believing that Saitama is attempting to fool him. However, it seems Saitama genuinely believes this is all he did to acquire his power. The important thematic takeaway from Saitama's training journey is obviously that hard work pays off. It is trying to display the importance of diligently training to work towards a goal of betterment that you have set for yourself, enduring it without rest for years at a time until you have acquired what you were after. While this specific instance is focusing on physical strength and power, this theme can extend to any goal, aspiration, or ambition that anyone out there has. The constant remains the same. If you truly want something, you must work hard for it, always continuing to train to the best you can be if it's what you truly want. To add on to this, Saitama's inspiration to embark on this quest for physical power is rooted in an inherently virtuous concept: becoming a hero. Not only was Saitama pursuing self improvement, but a self improvement that would become a betterment for the world around him. I think this can be interpreted into an angle that shows how talent should not only be acquired for your own ambition, but so that it can be shared with the world for the good of everyone. Tying into this theme is another that the show briefly highlights. Keeping busy and motivated with these goals of self improvement can save you from spiraling into a more parasitic existence where you seek only easy living and pleasure. After Saitama encountered a group of self declared revolutionists who wished to no longer be required to work, Saitama notices some parallels in their lifestyle and ponders as to whether or not he could have ended up like them had he taken a wrong step somewhere along the way. If he hadn't decided to stick with his self motivation, instead of becoming a strong hero, could he have become unemployed and spiteful towards a society that wouldn't allow him to be as lazy as he desired? He looks to be seriously wondering. Furthermore, there is a particular trait of Saitama's persona that is especially admirable. He doesn't seem to care about any of the superficial stuff that so much emphasis has been placed on, like fame and fortune or rankings mandated by the association and the subsequent reverence that could follow if placed highly enough. Instead, as Saitama's catchphrase says, he's just a hero for fun. He possesses unnatural amounts of power, yet doesn't go about seeking all kinds of attention and admiration for it. He appears to be perfectly content with an otherwise simple lifestyle, taking out monsters both for enjoyment and for the sake of saving the city. Besides not actively seeking out tangible reward for his power, Saitama's actions directly display his lack of care around such things. Two major examples happen in the show. The first being after he single handedly and near effortlessly took out a Sea King, a monster of great strength that easily wiped the floor with several other heroes. One of the defeated was Moomin Rider, who displayed a tremendous amount of courage in the face of insurmountable odds, a scene we'll come back to later. Saitama sees this and respects the bravery they all displayed, and how these heroes gave it their all despite being defeated. When people in the crowd who saw how easily he took down the Sea King began attributing it to the supposed fact that the monster must be weak, and therefore the heroes that fought it especially weak, Saitama protects their reputation by sacrificing his own, pretending that they weakened the monster so much that he could swoop in and take care of it without much effort. He publicly makes himself look like a credit-stealing jerk in order to preserve the admiration for the other heroes involved in the fight. I suspect he probably recognized that they put far more effort into their fights than he did into his, and respects them for it. He may be vastly more powerful than all of them combined, but due to that, he puts significantly less effort into his fights, and has a general lack of bravery due to his confidence that he can easily survive and beat any opponent he comes across. Like he tells Moomin Rider after rescuing him, you should be proud of yourself. The other instance I want to bring up is the situation concerning the Class S hero named King, who is regarded as the strongest man alive. In truth, he's an ordinary person with no remarkable powers. He's just gotten lucky in that monsters keep being in his vicinity and getting defeated, credit for their defeat then being attributed to him. Many of these scenarios involved Saitama being the person that truly defeated them. However, when Saitama discovers this, he isn't angry and he doesn't even demand that King come clean. Instead, he recognizes that many people already see King as an icon and look up to him as a great hero. So he recommends that he legitimately get strong. This also loops back to the idea of imagining what you want, putting the work in to reach the goal, the opposite of this deception that King has been running with thus far. The main idea, though, is that Saitama is once again looking out for the good of King and the people who idolize him, rather than trying to regain his credit or expose a fraud that has been stealing it. The two of them even go on to become friends, showing the true extent of Saitama's forgiveness. For a synopsis of the overall thematic material being presented here, the idea that being a hero doesn't always result in a tangible reward, and if you are truly acting as a hero, you shouldn't care about fortune or fame. Coming off the heels of this, I want to mention a sub-theme that sort of spirals out of this one, which is the difference between doing something out of independent desire and doing something in a job-like environment. After discovering that heroes who aren't registered with the association are regarded as weirdos by the public, Saitama decides to join and promptly gets placed in Class C. He broke every record in the physical test, but performed incredibly poorly on the written exam that goes along with it. However, a requirement of Class C involves a weekly quota of criminals being brought in. This makes taking down villains and monsters a job-like requirement, which Saitama quickly finds to add a layer of stress and boredom to what he used to do for other purposes. There is obviously a much larger factor contributing to Saitama's boredom, but that will be brought up later. The point here is that enjoyment is almost always better when you are not pressured into doing the very activity that you enjoy. Doing things for yourself is often funner than doing something when it's mandated by someone else. Transitioning to a new topic, another theme that runs strong in the show is a difference between bravery and foolish pride or ego protection. See, largely due to their ranking system, many of the classes below S are eager to prove themselves as equal heroes, and will therefore often get themselves into fights they simply cannot handle without assistance. This kind of hubris results in these prideful heroes receiving beatdowns as they try to tackle an enemy far beyond their abilities just to protect their egos or prove some point that becomes meaningless in the face of such danger. Once again, this idea is highlighted in a couple areas that we'll specifically call out. After joining a martial arts tournament in an attempt to momentarily cure his boredom and bag some prize money, Saitama encounters many martial artists that are very full of themselves and their power. The other contestant that made it to the finals is especially this way, highly confident in his abilities and even claiming that he seeks out competition for thrill and pleasure. That last sentiment isn't entirely unlike Saitama in many respects, and a cool moment is when our protagonist tells him that if he really wants to have fun, he shouldn't get any stronger. The end of the tournament gets derailed when hyper-powerful monsters emerge, a couple of which mercilessly beat on the finalist. Eventually, when his life is on the verge of ending, he swallows his pride and screams for help. to which Saitama hears him and easily destroys the monsters, saving his life. This whole sequence displays the idea that while confidence in your own strength can be a good thing, you have to know when to call on someone else for help. If you are outclassed or outmatched, there is no sense in dying or failing, simply because your ego won't allow you to acknowledge that you require the help of someone else. Another instance that shows this theme in a similar fashion is towards the end of Season 2, when a squad of Class A heroes attempt to take down the Hero Hunter. They are doing this without calling in any Class S heroes, so that they can prove they are worth just as much as them. However, it quickly becomes apparent that the Hero Hunter is a threat far beyond even their combined capabilities. Most of them are too stubborn to even consider trying to contact more powerful heroes, but with his last bit of consciousness, someone who is more of a support person to the heroes manages to send out a sort of distress signal to a Class S hero, and Genos responds to come in and help. Just another example of the merit of knowing when you require assistance from someone stronger, and that knowledge in itself displays inner strength. However, there is something to be said about the bravery of fearlessly taking on an opponent you know is far stronger than you. It is not always reckless or prideful, sometimes it truly is heroic. The prime example of this comes in the form of my favorite character in the show, Moomin Rider. See, he is a Class C hero who is little more than an ordinary human on a bike. However, whenever people or other heroes are in danger, he is quick to step up to offer any help he possibly can. The clearest display of his courage takes place during the fight with the Sea King. This monster from the ocean has bodied heroes of higher rank and power than Moomin Rider, yet he stands defiantly before him. In this moment, there are a group of people that the Sea King has threatened to slaughter, and currently Moomin Rider is the only thing left standing to defend them. He's going to take on the Sea King, not out of vanity or pride, but out of duty as a hero. He will give it his all and fight to the death, knowing very well he has no chance at victory, as long as he could possibly help save these people. This is a display of courage and bravery unlike the other examples previously given. Even though it's a similar type of scenario, the mindset of the hero is in a virtuous place, solidifying Moomin Rider as one of the most heroic heroes in the show, despite his general weakness. Given that strength and power are some of the driving factors of the show, it makes sense that we see different methods of attaining power. While the Saitama method, extreme dedication and hard work, is portrayed as the admirable path to walk, some people begin to give in to a temptation that promises quickly gained power, turning into a monster. People who seek power beyond their current capabilities are coerced into taking a monster cell that transforms them into a disfigured beast, a thirst for violence typically following. The message here is obvious. Finding shortcuts to strength through dark means, such as sacrificing your humanity, strips away what should be the point of becoming strong in the first place. Just as we use Saitama as an anchor for much of the thematic material found in the show, we'll now move on to Garo, the hero hunter, who is being built up in many ways to be a dark reflection of Saitama. If you're watching this video, that probably means you're interested in storylines, and one of the best ways to consume stories is through reading books. For the past 6 years, I've been writing and self-publishing novels to Amazon, which can be read in both digital and paperback form. Overall, I write in the science fiction genre, but each book has a slightly different nuance that will appeal to people invested in other genres as well. Do you enjoy high-concept sci-fi? Linear Highway and Genesis Prince of Time should hit the spot. More of a spiritual horror fan? Cult of Shadows has a soul-shaking story to get lost in. Or perhaps you're into more of a mystery, better yet, a mystery that prompts you to put the pieces together and solve the narrative for yourself. In that case, Frameless Mirror should be perfect. If you enjoy stories and reading, please check out my authors page on Amazon and find the book that appeals to you. Or perhaps even delve into the entire Lloyd's Halt series. A huge thanks to anyone who considers this, links are in the description, and now back to the video. Garo has made it his life mission to take down the most powerful heroes one by one, displaying his superiority over them and solidifying himself as a symbol of fear in the heart of every hero. He's so driven by this goal due to his childhood, in which he suffered at the hands of other children obsessed with heroes. Garo was always sympathetic towards the monster when it came to fights, easily able to project himself into their point of view. A specific example of this was when a group of children were talking about a show they liked to watch called Justice Man. In the particular episode they were discussing, they were triumphantly regaling how Justice Man killed the monster named Crab Demon. Garo couldn't help but interject in the conversation, pointing out how Crab Demon was just trying to protect his egg and his home from the rampant pollution harming the ocean, and never gave up even when all the odds were stacked against him, only to be killed by these so-called heroes that the other children are idolizing. This delves into the complexity of morality, and how the world can't be so simply divided into good and evil all of the time. Crab Demon may be a monster, and he may be doing harmful things, but his motivations clearly stem from the fact that people are actively destroying his home and endangering his offspring. When he lashes out against this, What from his perspective is a wrongdoing against him and his kin, heroes gang up on him and kill him. His egg is left without a caretaker and his home will continue to be destroyed whilst everyone else celebrates another victory for the heroes. The kids around Gyro blindly worship these heroes because that's who they have been told are the good guys. Heroes are the popular ones, and therefore their perspective is the only one that matters to all these children. Gyro, however, can see things from the monster's perspective and feels compassion for them. He can see the murky soup of gray that is life, rather than the black and white lens that his peers are looking through. When he speaks his mind, however, the children call him a freak, hold him down and gang up on him, beating him while he can't fight back. But when he defends himself, he's the one that gets in trouble with the adults. His story of events gets cast aside, and he feels isolated and alone. One thought makes it to the forefront of his mind: the popular win and the hated lose. Somewhere along the line, he vowed to become the monster that everyone around him always wanted him to be, and would devote his life to striving to become a symbol of fear to all heroes. He even once declared that he rejects both good and evil, becoming disillusioned with both concepts. Overall, Gyro's character displays the complexity of morality and how heroes and villains change based on whose perspective you are looking through. He feels that he is lashing out against a world that is rigged against the unfortunate, yet his actions are not the correct response either. By lurking around and hunting these heroes, he's incapacitating them during times of crisis in which they could be helping other people. While the societal system may be flawed, that doesn't mean that every hero who is a part of it is, but Gyro hunts them indiscriminately. All that being said, Gyro has this rageful fire embedded deep into his spirit and will not stop until he has met his goal, not unlike how Saitama did when deciding to become a hero. These characters are similar enough and opposite enough to be great foil characters to one another, and further accentuate the themes that can be found in each of their stories. A man that had trained incredibly hard to become a hero, and a man that will stop at nothing to become a monster. Another major topic of the show that I want to cover is inspiration and the path of learning, and how people who are sources of good can have more effect on the world around them than they know. Saitama, throughout his career being a hero, has inspired several people to become better versions of themselves, even become heroes as well. Heck, he technically knocked over the domino that inspired the creation of the entire Hero Association by saving this kid back when he was just a normal guy. He doesn't care about popularity, ranking, or even receiving credit for his exploits, yet he has a noticeable positive effect on his entire environment. People are becoming inspired by his strength and using that inspiration to make themselves into stronger and better people. The show even loosely highlights how it is never too late to begin the journey of self improvement. When Genos, the cyborg seeking to learn from Saitama, expresses his desire to train and get stronger, Saitama is confident that he can achieve it easily, given that he is only 19, and Saitama didn't even start his training until he was 22. A lot of people out there don't understand how young they actually are, and this moment shows how if you truly want to attain something, regardless of age or life position, you just have to embark on the path even if it seems long and daunting. The only way to complete a journey is by grinding through every step. Furthermore, a helpful method to reaching your ambitions is by learning from the best. Like how Geno studies the ways of Saitama, following the advice from those that have already attained what you seek can be incredibly advantageous to your journey. It shouldn't be seen as a weakness to learn from those that are stronger than you, but as wisdom to use them as stepping stones as you slowly climb closer to your goal. And if you keep your eyes set on the good that you can use your built up talents for, you may start to have a positive influence on the people and society around you. To close this video on the thematic material found within One Punch Man, I want to talk about Saitama's greatest enemy, the troubles of being the strongest. A major element of his character is the fact that he's experiencing boredom with life. No monster or villain poses any kind of challenge to him anymore. One blow can defeat even the strongest of adversaries. When having a deep discussion about his feelings with King, Saitama expresses how numb he feels, as if there is nothing more for him to learn, nothing more for him to strive for. It is not dissimilar from the common sentiment heard in real life. It's lonely at the top. King, however, makes an excellent counterpoint to Saitama's expressed numbness. There is so much to the world, and if you feel as though you can't learn anything more about something, perhaps you need to push yourself out of your comfort zone. Travel to new locations, take on new hobbies. Even something as simple as video gaming seems to ignite a passion within Saitama, as he is terrible at it compared to King. It may just be video games, but still, it is an example of a new skill for Saitama to master. Furthermore, and probably the most important takeaway of this scene, there is far more to a talent than raw strength, especially when it comes to being a hero. There are several intrinsic values that can always be grown, mental toughness, and philosophical understanding that can be tested and explored. The moral here is that the path of learning and improvement can never truly end, no matter what form it may take, and that everyone should constantly strive to improve themselves, for the betterment of oneself and the world around them. I hope you enjoyed this analysis of the thematic concepts that serve as the heartbeat for the lore of One Punch Man, and if you did, a like and comment go a long way for helping out the video. If you like discussions and theories surrounding storylines and lore found within various forms of media, make sure to subscribe to keep up with the channel's content. As for now, the unknown persists, so the investigation continues.
Instead of overthinking your setbacks, just focus on moving forward.